Hey everyone! It has been a while since the last video, but I have a good reason for such a delay. Anyway, I finally found the time to record another one, so let's dive in. Remember in one of the previous lectures, we looked at lambdas. We saw how they give us an easy and clean way to create function objects on the fly, saving us from writing boilerplate structs just to pass a callable. But what happens if we want to store these callables somewhere and call them, say, at a later time? And what if we want these callables to be anything that behaves like a function, not just lambdas? This setup is exactly where standard function comes to the rescue. As always, let's start with an illustrative example. Imagine we're building a UI framework, and we want to create a button class. A button doesn't have to know what should happen when it is clicked. It just needs to know that it has been clicked. The user of the button object should be able to hook up any logic they want by passing a callback, a callable that is called when an action takes place. In our case, when a button gets clicked. Now, one thing we could do is to use templates. If we template the entire button class on the type of callable, we can store the provided callback as a member variable, say onClick, and call it when the click occurs. With this approach, we can create, say, a play button and a quit button that each calls their own callback. It's not a bad approach. Look how our templated button handles the different types of callables seamlessly. We don't even need to provide the template type, as it is inferred using class template argument deduction. Here we pass a lambda into a play button callback and a freestanding function into a quit button callback. If we just want to create these buttons and use them in isolation, like in our example, this approach works wonderfully. On top of everything else, it's blazing fast, because the compiler knows the exact type of callback at compile time and can optimize it perfectly. However, as soon as we try to build a more complex and dynamic system, things get a bit more complicated. For example, a UI framework usually needs a way to draw all buttons on screen or handle their input in a loop. So we would like to put them all in a standard vector. But standard vector requires all of its elements to be of exact same type. Because play button is templated on a lambda, a unique class generated by a compiler, and quit button is templated on a function pointer, they are two entirely different types. We cannot store them in the same vector. In addition to that, what if we wanted a single button to trigger multiple actions when clicked? We could change callback on click to standard vector on click callbacks. But again, because standard vector demands a single type for all of its elements, we could only store multiple copies of the exact same lambda or the exact same function pointer. We couldn't mix a lambda and a function object inside the same button's list of callbacks. But what about standard variant, I hear some of you ask. Well, technically, it would allow us to store various types of callables in a single vector, but some of those types would be horrible temporary anonymous classes generated by the compiler, so we wouldn't be able to provide them to our variant upfront. Which brings us to the same problem. What type would a vector store? To solve all of these problems, we can use standard function introduced in C++11 and available in the functional header. It is a wrapper that can store, copy, move, and invoke any callable target, be it a function, a lambda expression, a bind expression, or a function object, as long as its signature matches the one specified in the standard function template argument. The syntax for a standard function is straightforward. It is a template class template on the return type, as well as all the argument types in parentheses. And all of these can be references, pointers, const, etc., just like any normal function arguments. Now let's rewrite our button class using standard function then. We will remove the template from the class and instead use standard function void for our callback, meaning takes no arguments, returns void. Let's start by keeping exactly one callback per button, matching our original example. There are not that many changes really. The button class is not templated anymore, but takes a standard function void callback as a parameter and stores this callback internally. The main function also remains very similar, except now we can put our buttons in a vector. When we run this, it works beautifully, calling both of our buttons callbacks. And what about our second problem? Now that our callbacks are wrapped in a uniform type, we can easily change our button class to store a vector of different function objects, allowing us to attach multiple diverse actions to a single button. We can pass this vector of callbacks in the constructor and store it as a class member. We can now pass a vector of callbacks to a button in the main function and call all of them in a for loop when a button is clicked. The rest of the example stays largely the same. And when we run the code, all of our callbacks are being called as expected. Notice that standard function can also be empty. Just like pointers can be null pointer, a standard function can hold nothing. If we try to call an empty standard function, it throws a standard bad function call exception. That's why we check if callback before calling it, similar to how we check if a pointer is valid before dereferencing it. Now, before we go rewriting all of our code to use standard function, we need to have a brief chat about performance. While standard function is incredibly flexible, that flexibility, as always, comes at some cost. So let's look at the pros and cons of each of the two approaches we've just explored. In the case of templates, one big pro is that the compiler knows the exact type of the callable at compile time, making it easier for the compiler to optimize the code. This approach is fast and never allocates memory on the heap. But it comes with a con. It relies on static compile time polymorphism. For every different callable type we pass, the compiler generates a completely new class type. Also, all implementation lives in headers, unless we precompile for a selected set of callable types. And another con is that objects have different types, so we can't store them in a single standard container. Now, what about the standard function? Its biggest pro, arguably, is that the standard function can wrap any callable matching the provided signature at runtime. Another pro being that all matching callables are wrapped in the exact same type, so we can easily store them in standard containers, pass them around, and swap out their callbacks on the fly. But then there are obviously also cons, and one big con is heap allocation. Implementations of standard function usually have a small internal buffer called small object optimization to store small callables, which is quite fast to use. But if our callable state, like a lambda with a large capture list, is too large for the internal buffer, standard function will call new to allocate memory on the heap. This can be a major performance bottleneck if used on a hot path. Another con is that there is a virtual call overhead. Invoking a standard function generally invokes an indirect function call, like calling a virtual function, which can make it harder for the compiler to perform all of its optimizations. Because of this, if we are writing performance-critical code on hot path, like a standard sort algorithm that runs a callable we pass into it millions of times a second, we typically stick to templates. On the contrary, standard function is for situations like UI callbacks and event handlers where we want to store and maybe even replace different callable types at runtime, and the tiny performance overhead of a virtual call doesn't really matter. However, what I just said is just a rule of thumb. When performance really matters, we should always measure the alternatives and pick the option that suits us best. Finally, I want to briefly talk about how standard function actually works under the hood. How can it store an arbitrary callable, say a lambda or a functor, without knowing its exact type at compile time? How does it all get cleaned up neatly without leaking memory? This is achieved using a design pattern called type erasure. Do note though that you don't have to know this to use standard function. It is also very unlikely that you'll ever need to implement your own type erased wrapper. Still, it's a pretty cool pattern to know about. It's used in several places in standard library, including standard shared pointer, standard any, and as we'll see in standard function. To see how it all works, let's build a simplified version of standard function that only handles void callables. We'll call it myFunction because I have no imagination. The core idea is to use a templated class that inherits from a non-template base class that uses virtual functions to call the stored callable. Let's unpack what is happening here. The myFunction class itself is not templated. The callable pointer just points to some callable base that has a pure virtual invoke method. By the way, here we inherit from non-copyable base class to make sure our callable base only has pointer reference semantics, not value semantics. See the inheritance lecture for more details on that. The exact type t is remembered only inside the templated callable implementation t class, which is instantiated when the templated myFunction constructor is called. The callable implementation class overrides the virtual invoke method and actually calls the stored callable object. So now if we create a couple of myFunction objects, one with a free function, one with a lambda, the call to the call operator on either myFunction object will call the invoke method on the callable base pointer, which through the vtable finds the actual invoke method on the appropriate callable implementation object, which then calls the stored callable object. Same logic applies when myFunction object is destroyed. Its destructor will call the destructor of the callable base, which, having a virtual destructor, will call the destructor of callable implementation, which will in turn call the destructor of the actual callable object it holds. This is how the underlying callable object can be called and safely cleaned up without any memory leaks and without my function needing to know anything about the concrete type t. This is what type erasure is all about. And of course, if we run the code, we get the printout that we expect. The real standard function class is, of course, much more complex. It handles different return types and arguments, uses small object optimization to avoid standard unique pointer heap allocations when possible, and provides copy semantics. I won't go into these details here, but the underlying principle is exactly what we've just implemented. Finally, it won't hurt to stress this again, you'll probably never need to implement your own type erased wrapper. But it's good to know how it works under the hood. Who knows, maybe it'll come up in a job interview, like it did for me some years ago, looking at you, Misha. To sum up, standard function is a powerful tool when we need a generic uniform way to store and pass around things that can be called. It is extremely versatile, allowing to use any callable object with the same interface. However, with great power comes great responsibility and potential heap allocations, as well as a potential runtime overhead due to the use of the vtable. So, as a rule of thumb, we should probably use standard function for callbacks, event handlers, and storing tasks, but stick to templates when we need maximum performance on hot path, unless we measured otherwise. And this is it for now. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!